Carmenere was born in Bordeaux, France, but today it's the fifth most important grape of Chile. It was first brought to Chile in the mid 1800s, but that wasn't known as Carmenere until the 1990s. In this episode, join us as we pay homage to Chile's Carmenere grape. Enjoy the video, give it a like, and subscribe to our channel for more. Carmenere originated from the Bordeaux region of France. Before the 1870s, Carmenere was one of the blending grapes of Bordeaux. But after phylloxera, nearly all of the Carmenere vines, along with most of the vineyards in Bordeaux, were wiped out. And when the winemakers in Bordeaux replanted, they opted not to plant Carmenere and instead used the easier grapes like Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. So as a result, Carmenere was nearly extinct and is nearly extinct in its homeland.
Yeah, Carmenere is a half sibling of Merlot, Hondarribia Belza from Basque Country, and Cabernet Sauvignon. They all share the same parent, Cabernet Franc. And interestingly enough, Cabernet Franc is also Carmenere's great-great-grandparent. Perhaps this helps explain why there are similar tastes between Carmenere and Cabernet Franc.
So Carmenere was first brought to Chile in the 1800s. However, when it was first brought over, it was thought to be Merlot, its half sibling. And that, because of that, it was planted next to Merlot and blended together. But in 1994, the French amypelographer, otherwise known as a grape botany expert, Jean-Michel Boursiat, noticed how some of the Merlot vines took a much longer time to ripen. And so he carried out research to determine that somewhere close to 50% of the Merlot planted in Chile was actually Carmenere. And so it was the long lost Carmenere of Bordeaux. But even though they discovered that, it was not until 1998 that Chile officially recognized Carmenere as a distinct variety.
Carmenere is a very slow ripening grape, ripening 4 to 5 weeks after Merlot. It takes long, hot summers so that it can spend ample time on the vine. But moderately difficult to grow, yields tend to be low, resulting in highly concentrated grapes. Carmenere also has higher levels of aroma compounds called pyrazines, like its parent Cabernet Franc and its sibling Cabernet Sauvignon. Pyrazines can result in subtle flavors of bell pepper, green peppercorn, eucalyptus, and even cocoa powder.
So in Chile, a wine labeled Carmenere can contain up to 15% of other grape varieties. And some producers have found that adding a little Syrah or a little Petit Syrah can make the wine a little bit more lush. So here's a little tip. 100% Carmenere wines generally have more red fruit flavors of raspberry and pomegranate, as well as classic notes like green pepper and paprika. And wines that have a little darker fruit like blackberry, black plum, or blueberry notes usually have a percentage of other grapes blended in. So Cindy, is your wine 100% Carmenere, or do you have any other grapes blended into it?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Allison. My wine is 100% Carmenere. It is Marques de Casa Conca 2014 Carmenere from the Conca y Toro brand. It retails, I hope you can see this, about $21, and the label is part of their super brands portfolio, indicating that the wines, they want to say they're an expression of Chile's best terroirs. So this Carmenere was grown in the Puemo vineyard, located 170 meters above sea level. And the vineyard extends over the terraces and hills of the coastal range along the Cachapual River. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sure someone will correct me at some point. A Mediterranean climate, soils are deep, alluvial, silty clay, which typically results in a richer, more structured wine. And this really is. This is a classic wine, and I'm so happy that I'm sipping the 2014 vintage, which has a little age on it. And Carmenere can age, which is great. Sweet, dark chocolate with gamey notes will take you down that dark path. Let's see. Oh, it's just so well balanced. Fresh acidity, soft tannins that lead into dried plum and quince. Finish is terrific with a little salted chocolate on the finish. So I highly recommend this. This is just really, really delicious. You can see how dark it is. It's beautiful. So what about your wine, Allison? Is it 100% Carmenere too?
Yes, my wine is also 100% Carmenere. It's the Los Vascos Cromos Grand Reserve Carmenere 2019 from the Cochalgua Valley. And it retails for about $22, so very similar to yours. Los Vascos is located in the Valley de Caneten in Colchagua. It's a closed valley in the central zone of Chile, about 25 miles from the sea. And this is actually the largest vineyard in central Colchagua. It was started in the mid-19th century by two leading Chilean wine producers who brought vines over from Bordeaux, luckily before the phylloxera hit.
Right.
And it was really to improve the quality of the original vineyard. And it was thanks to Chile's natural geographic frontiers that they were protected from phylloxera when it did hit Chile and continued to flourish. It was in 1988 that Le Domaine Baron de Rothschild Lafite, the famous family from Bordeaux, France, acquired Los Vascos after searching around over more than 100 wineries in Chile. They chose it for the existing vineyards and the soils and the climates, and it was the first time that the French had invested into modern Chile. And the name Cromos is inspired by the colors of nature that reflect the terroir, as you can see here.
Yes,
this
definitely.
one is in the deep color that's like purple and purple blue. And so the grapes are picked, they're destemmed and put in stainless steel tanks to go through gentle extractions of tannins. And only 50% of the wine is put into French oak barrels for about a year and then blended back together. So it's really beautiful. Like as the label, you get into that kind of deep blue purple. I get that on the nose. I get black cherry and blackberry, even black raspberry, a little bit of notes of white pepper. The herbaceousness, there's a touch of it. It's not dominant, but it adds a really nice element to this wine. It adds extra excitement than just the fruit notes. And the same thing, I've got really soft tannins. It's silky, and there's this lovely balance between the acidity and this kind of density. So I'm gonna take another sip of that.
Definitely. And you know what? I just love that the notes on these wines are just so voluminous. They really are, which means they're very wonderful food pairing wines too, especially with that bright acidity that we're finding.
Absolutely.
So for my pairing, I'm thinking about doing a duck pot pie because my husband went hunting and he brought back duck, plucked, feathered, the whole thing. So it's in the freezer. I just have to thaw it. But I'm going to pair this wine with that duck, and I'm just going to do a pot pie and just see what happens. I think it's going to be fabulous. How about you? What are you going to do?
Well, I mean, I think that's a perfect pairing because Carmenere works well with roasted pork, with lamb. It works well with darker meats like turkey and duck. So I don't have anyone hunting a duck for me and bringing that home. So I'm leaning a little bit more towards something like a hanger steak with chimichurri sauce. I think that the herbaceousness, you know, the kind of the herbs of the chimichurri will kind of bring out that hint of herbaceousness that I have in this wine. So I think that's what I'm going to do.
I think that's a great choice. Yeah, good. I love it. That's good.
So Carmenere really is Chile's grape. And Cindy and I have shared two very affordable and quite delicious wines that are worth checking out. Have you enjoyed a Carmenere from Chile or maybe from somewhere else? Give our video a like, share a Carmenere you've enjoyed, and subscribe to our channel today. Cheers.